Hey everybody, this is Coburn C Capshaw / Amateur Smells a Lot with another Let's Talk Minute LLC video and audio podcast. How are you all doing today? It's a beautiful Sunday morning. I hope you all are enjoying your Sunday as much as I am. Excuse me. Had a beautiful day today. Ran around Tillis Park. Got to walk around with my little boy. Had a great time. Played with him in the park. We always have fun like always. It was such a good time. So, everybody, today's video audio podcast for Let's Talk Media LLC is going to be yet again about the impact as to why it's so important for a father to be in their child's life. So, the last place we left off with, I think if I'm correct, is better chances for success. Actually, it was. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to continue on with general happiness and positive outlook. Okay? So, and then remember, this is from, pardon me, that's a little dry. This is from www.all4kids.org /news/blog/y /fatherhood /engagement /matters, and then another slash like this. Anyway, just to kind of, cite my sources or whatever, so I'm not copywriting, and just to, show credit to the people that I'm reading from who can help me with my podcast and my advice and things like that. So thank you for that, and thank you for the people who've taken the time to perfect what it's like to be a parent and give their best advice to parents new and even maybe parents who have been around for a while and been doing it for a while. That's what I'm trying to do, is give my best advice based on what I know. Obviously that's kind of my thing, but you get what I'm saying. But anyway, so let's see. There are long-term benefits for children when the fathers are engaged parents. Analysis of more than 100 studies on parent-child relationships found that having a loving and nurturing father was as important for a child's happiness, well-being, and social and academic success as having a loving and nurturing mother. And this is from the Department of Health and Human Services. Wow, so that's legit. For example, in a study mentioned in the same report, a father's presence in the family promoted significant cognitive outcomes. In the study, toddlers with involved fathers were more secure and more likely to explore the world with enthusiasm and a positive outlook. This contributes to a lifelong inclination towards independence. So, wow. How many times have I told you guys how true that is for Jack? From day one, we taught him to be independent, but we also taught him that we're there if he needs us, because obviously we love our son. And so he never had a binky or a pacifier. I'm not saying he didn't. I mean, he did a little bit to soothe him a little bit. Otherwise, he didn't. Excuse me, watch. my watch is going out there. He didn't really need it. Day one, we had him in his own crib, so he could be independent, like sleep on his own. After he turned one, we took him off his bottle. We weaned him off very easily, and he had no issues getting off the bottle, so that's another plus. He's very observant. He's very smart. He's getting way more coordinated, and I told you about how sweet he is and everything. But that's what I'm saying. So because of me being around and my wife being around, that did promote his significant cognitive outcomes. That's why he's independent. That's why he can be in another room and I'm in another room as long as nobody's doing. It's not that I don't worry about him. I do worry about him. He's my son. I love him, but it's more, I know he's independent, so I can be like, oh, he's over there playing, he's fine. As long as I can hear him and, I don't have to, always be by his side 24/7, which obviously I am as much as I can be. Doug, he's my kid. But what I'm saying is that, for me, it makes me feel good knowing that he has that independence, knowing that he can be like, oh, I can be over here, and Daddy's okay because we've done this 1,000 times, or, he obviously relies on us, but he's also very independent on his own. And it's a good feeling knowing that, being a parent, So let's see, better stress management. The emotional effects of having an effective, engaged father figure are significant, and they are not limited to childhood. Excuse me. Let's see. People with actively involved father figures during childhood are more likely to have an improved ability to handle stress. So I feel like for me, growing up, that was true. Like I told you, I've had all kinds of male influences growing up on my last podcast, and that's helped me handle stress. You know, taught me how to find good outlets for my energy, for my anger, for my to have a better outcome. So I'm not an angry, bitter person, and I'm trying to teach Jack that too. Whether that's martial arts, whether that's basketball, like I said, because he loves basketball, whether that's running around, getting a good run out, or working out, like whatever mental things I can do to help him mentally. I'm trying to get my word right here. Whatever I can help him do mentally to better himself, to manage his stress, I'm going to do that, whether it's the steps that I do or whatever he shows me what works for him. But I'm hoping that, in the end, he ends up being able to have some good coping mechanisms like I have. If he gets angry or something, we don't want him to hit anyone. So I'd rather him go hit on the punching bag, because I know that make him feel good. Stuff like that, like how I like to do. Things like that. Or them helping his stress and anger and his anxiety, things of those nature. Of that nature. Excuse me. Like I said, I had a great run today, but I'm a little tired from it. I'm a little sore, but I'm here because I love to entertain you guys, because I love you all. Anyway. Excuse me. It's the weather here in St. Louis. It's all the pollen and the heat. It makes your throat really dry. Excuse me. So, related findings indicate that father's emotional absence, meaning psychologically disconnected instead of physically, has long-lasting negative effects on child development. When the father isn't emotionally invested in a relationship with a child, it in turn becomes difficult for the child to develop appropriate emotional reactions, such as stress management. You know what? I think because we are so loving towards him, because we are there for him, but he's also independent. I don't know if you want to call this stress management, but when he hurts himself, or like when he falls or something, or when something seems to be all going a little bit awry or crazy, he doesn't seem to really cry that much or seem to freak out. And I think it's because we're both there for him, I know I'm there for him, emotionally, physically, like it's saying here, or, those moments where I'm like, come on, buddy, you're tough, you can do it. Or those moments where I'm like, oh, it's okay, buddy, I love you, it's okay, you're going to be okay, it's okay. When he is really crying, knowing the difference between how to do the two of those and learning how to balance that out, that's always the good thing. That's the plus. You have to learn how to balance that out so that way they can have that thing of like, okay, I'm independent, right? Especially if you have a son, in my opinion. Excuse me. Silly throat. Like I was saying, so teach them to be independent, but like I said, teach them how, like, okay, I'm here if you need me. Like, I'm here to love you, but I want you to also be tough. And, there's not just physically, but also mentally. Like, if it's a small little fall, but when he starts to, I'll pick him up and I'll say, hey, it's okay, buddy. It was a tiny little, where my wife and I we'll go plop. Plop, just be funny. Or sometimes if we go plop, that'll make him kind of laugh and giggle and make him not want to cry because he'll think, oh, that was like a little fall. It didn't really hurt, which it doesn't, But things like that. So I would say, you want to be there for your child, especially emotionally. Pay attention to their cues and coos. Pay attention to how they say stuff. Even like that, like whenever Jack does that, I'm like, okay, that can mean a lot of different ahs. And you got to pay attention to what they mean. Stuff like that. I guess, like I said, growing up, show them how to handle stress. Be that physical dad. Be like, all right, you're angry about this, let's go do this. You're upset about this, let's go do that. That's what I'm getting at, Because you don't ever want your child to not develop well. Especially when it comes to the mental health. You really, really gotta be careful of the child's mental health these days, Seriously, it's a scary world out there. So other benefits of fatherhood engagement. Oh man. And then I think after this, this is the ending of this. Okay, we'll find another website after this. But this is a great one though, huh? Fathers can, so other benefits of fatherhood engagement. Fathers can have a positive impact on a child's welfare, excuse me, on a child welfare outcome as well. One study found that children whose fathers are in the picture spend less time in foster care and are more likely to achieve reunification and have a lower likelihood of subsequent maltreatment allegations. Wow. And that's from trainingmattersnc.org/nc.org. If you are a father and you commit yourself to having a relationship with your child, the benefits are far from one-sided. Oh, of course. By creating a positive relationship with a child, your own life will change for the better as well. You will experience positive gains in your own development and life decisions. Yeah, I've definitely matured since I became a dad. Getting a good, 7 to 3:30 job. Not the typical 9 to 5, but I guess you could call it a 9 to 5 if you want. But getting a 7 to 3:30 job, getting a good pay, having a career where I actually have a job where there's benefits, and it doesn't matter if you have a college degree or not. If you have a job where you get benefits, that's a career. I don't care what anyone says. But knowing that I'm providing for my family, knowing I'm being the caring, loving husband I can be to my wife, showing her that I love her by taking care of her child, showing her that I love her and my family by going to work. Yeah, ever since I got married and ever since he came into this world, I've become a much better person and a lot more mature. And I definitely like who I've become. I'm not bragging. I'm just trying to let you know, like I said before, I think in my, I know I do a lot of food for that post, but in the one where I said, don't brag about your accomplishments, but feel good about them. Be proud of yourself for achieving those things because you've worked hard to achieve them. There's a difference between bragging about something and be like, oh, look at me, versus being like, oh, I'm better than you, versus, hey, I've worked hard. Let me just, reap the benefits and, let me show you a little bit. So there's no doubt they're 100% correct about that, as in, I benefit from how much I've matured. I benefit from how much he's shown me that my son makes me want to be mature. My son makes me want to work hard. He makes me want to always be there for him, Obviously my wife too, but it's a different feeling because it's my kid. But you always want to just, okay, example, I know I say this all the time, but don't become complacent in your marriage either, or your relationship. Little word of advice here, besides just being there for your kid, always take your wife out on dates. Hold her from behind, hold her hand, love her, kiss her forehead, smell her hair if you love her scent, I love my wife's scent. I know this sounds weird, but I love my wife to death, as you all know. Did I say date nights? Buy her little flowers. Tell her how much you value her. Tell her how much you value having a kid with her. What I'm saying is, let your wife mature you through your experiences with her. Positive experiences, like being a dad. Yeah. Because here's what this says. At the end of the day, it isn't the number of hours spent together for a father and child, but rather the quality and strength of that time. Wow. That is so true. Just like I was saying, the quality spent with your wife. Spend that quality time with your family. especially when you're all together. That's why it's incredibly proven and possible for non-resident fathers to have positive effects on children's social and emotional well-being, as well as achievement and development later on in life. It's shown that more engaged fathers, while living with or apart from the children, can help foster a child's healthy physical, emotional, and social development. So let's see. To learn more about this topic and Dads Matter, our father involvement program, visit our website. Let's see. Here's a continuation. If not, well, never mind. Then we're just gonna go back. Then sorry. All right. So let's see. Okay, Child Crisis Arizona. Okay, let's see what this is about. Looks pretty interesting. So, Save Kids, Strong Families. childcrisisaz.org. Okay, so let's see. So I've never read this before, so this will be our first time reading this together. So when it comes to parenting, it can sometimes feel like fathers, parents, excuse me, are second best. Depictions of dads in popular culture push the stereotype of fathers as incompetent, emotionally disconnected, secondary parents, quote unquote, who are not nearly as important to their children as their mothers. As a result, fathers are often pressured to take a back seat when it comes to being involved with raising their kids, and can face ridicule for things like admitting that they help change diapers or expressing an interest in taking paternity leave. In reality, although a mother's love is important and special, having an active father figure plays an equally important role in the healthy development of a child. Ain't that the truth? It's basically the same thing we've just been saying this whole time over and over again. But it's always good to remind yourself of these things, like that you actually matter, you know. But yeah, so here are 5 important ways fathers impact child development and increase intellect. Dad might be a bit of a goofball, ain't that the truth? With me and how silly and fun and quippy and out there I am, and the way I play with my boy and interact with him, and how, my wife knows I'm woohoo, but oh, she loves me to death. He's already getting silly and funny and quippy. Trust me, if anything, he's going to be a very, very quippy, silly out there son kid. My wife compares me to Chandler from Friends a lot. Excuse me. Even though my looks, I look more like Joey. If we're going to compare myself to anyone, how you doing? No, but seriously though, like I'm very quippy. Not cheesy quippy either. My acting singing coach actually said to me, be happy for the fact that people actually laugh at your humor when you try to be funny. Because he said I've tried to meet those people who try to have like random silly humor and no one laughs at all. So be happy that I actually have like a knack for it. So I guess anyway, where was I going with that? I was just telling you how much of a goofball I am. I'm sorry. So anyway, Dad might be a bit of a goofball, but an active father can help increase your child's emotional intelligence and problem-solving capabilities. Studies show that children with fathers who were actively involved throughout the first year of their child's life perform better on cognitive development assessments and demonstrate an increased capacity for curiosity and exploration. Children raised with active dads tend to score higher in verbal and math tests and are less likely to drop out of school or commit juvenile crimes. I think that's kind of the same thing we were saying before, but it's so true. Like you got to like, this is what I keep saying, give yourself credit. Seriously, especially if you're really trying hard to be a dad. It's not easy. It's easy, I'm lucky and fortunate that he's so well behaved and so sweet and kind and caring and cute as he is, but it's still not easy. He's still a baby, Oh, but this is literally the best thing I've ever done with my life. Besides marrying the woman of my dreams, which is my wife, becoming a dad has literally been the best thing I've ever done, and I'll keep saying that till the day I die. Anyway, so number 2, boost confidence. The emotional support provided by a father to a child is a priceless gift. By helping kids to understand how much they are valued and loved, children with supportive fathers are more likely to have high self-esteem and are generally happy and more confident. They also demonstrate a greater tolerance for stress, less frustration, like we were saying. Excuse me. This is going to be a big one. Hold on. When I say big one, I mean like a lot of wordings put together. So here we go. They also demonstrate a greater tolerance for stress slash frustration, comma, less hesitation slash fear. There we go. And in new situations and an increased ability to resist peer pressure and stand up for themselves. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I've always been a very confident person and confident in knowing who I am. The only thing that really tore me down was getting bullied, and then they're making me second guess who I was or where I came from, you know what I'm saying? Like I know where I came from, but when they say came from, I mean like who I am as a foundation as a person, Uh and that's why I want to show him how to be confident. However I can make him confident, it doesn't always have to be martial arts. It doesn't have to be what I do. It doesn't have to be all the steps that I do. It doesn't. I mean, I want him to follow my footsteps, but I want him to have that confidence of like, oh, I can do this to, help myself out or handle my stresses or like, not give in to peer pressure or like have better self esteem. Like obviously my wife and I are going to teach him how to do that, but what I'm getting at is I want him to be his own person. So number 3, someone to look up to. Fathers provide a positive male role model for the children and help to provide / reinforce good behaviors. As a result, children with more involved fathers tend to have fewer behavioral and impulse control problems, longer attention spans, and a higher level of sociability. These children also tend to be more compassionate and generous with an increased awareness of the needs and rights of others. Well, there we go. So, I feel like that's why he doesn't lash out or just like randomly start doing crazy stuff. And when he does, it's very cute and so he's just like and then like he'll do something cute, but like it's not like he goes off bouncing off the walls. And I mean, I don't know, maybe it's because I'll be like, hey buddy, be careful, like slow down, or like like turn your body when he's going downstairs or something like that, I always try to reinforce good behavior. I'm always telling him he's a good boy, how sweet he is, how much I love him, and like how much I love his hug and kisses, and like hug and kiss him too. I think that's what he does at love. Like come up behind me and hug my legs and give me a kiss on my leg. It's the cutest thing. That's a good example. He'll do it to my wife as well, He'll do it to mommy. So, oh. My wife just got back from going to get some fit flavors, trying to keep up, staying healthy, healthy family, healthy life, right? I think that's what they say. Anyway, so I'm trying to think of another good example. I mean, pretty much just says it right here for us, I mean, I've given all the examples I can for that. Let's move on. Let's see. So, provide a different perspective. Number 4, children are naturally full of questions, and mothers and fathers approach those questions in different ways. Active parents with different approaches to parenting can be a great way to expose children to a broad range of thinking and problem solving. Active fathers have a unique opportunity to share their perspective on life and teach their kids valuable life skills. Exactly. So, like, teaching him how to be an athlete, teaching him how to work hard, how to be smart, how to find ways around a bad situation, or problem solving, things like that. Like they said, provide a different perspective. Like if he ever gets mad or frustrated, I can say, "Hey, buddy, instead of getting mad about that, you could look at it like this, like how Daddy thinks of it this way, or this perspective, or things like that." Like different approaches to parenting. Like everyone has their own way of parenting, and I think I said this in my last podcast as well. Like, I'm not perfect. No one's perfect, but the way he's turning out, I think my wife and I are doing a great job, as always. But what they're getting at, though, is basically the broad range of thinking and problem solving. Like, every parent has a different way of how they solve those issues with their child, and some ways work, maybe some ways don't, but like I'm just saying, like, I know my way does, or our ways do. All right, number 5, feel the love. Just feel it. It's the most obvious thing to say, but that doesn't make it any less important. Having an active father makes a child feel love. Well, duh. I mean, the way he interacts with me and the way he plays with me, and I just love it, him to death. Having dad as a steady source of love, excuse me, and encouragement helps ensure that children grow up happy and healthy with high self-esteem. Being an active father is one of the most important things you can do for your child. If you're a new dad or just want to learn about how you can make a positive impact on your child's life, check out some of our parenting classes. Okay, so there's a number, 480-834-9424, for more individualized training and support. Child Crisis Arizona provides resources to families via no-cost parenting classes, workshop support groups, family events, and more. So, let me see. That is it for that. And you know what? Let me see. Maybe just a couple more minutes. See if we can find another good one. And then maybe after this, we'll wrap things up. About 3 more minutes? Okay. So the importance of fathers for child development. Key points. Fathers play an important role in child's development and can affect a child's social competence, performance in school, and emotion regulation. Fathers can also affect a child's well-being indirectly. A supportive relationship between parents is linked to better self-regulation in a child. Excuse me, my throat, like I said, is very dry today. Countries such as Norway and Sweden attempt to engage fathers and mothers equally in caregiving by providing paternal as well as maternal leave. All right. So historically, mothers have received more research attention than fathers. And I'm sorry, this is from psychologytoday.com. I'm so sorry. We're on Psychology Today. Let's see. And mothers have more often been characterized as children's primary caregivers, whereas fathers have been characterized as playmates. However, in many countries, gender roles have become more equitable over time, and research now suggests that fathers play many important roles in child development. All right, so let's see. So, direct and indirect effects of being... I'm getting a little tired. Excuse me. Direct and indirect effects of fathers on children's well-being. Children are not just helpers for mothers, but are important to children in their own life. For example, children with sensitive and supportive fathers have higher levels of social competence and better peer relationships. So that's why. I think I've said this before. That's why I like being sweet to my boy. This is why I like being cute with him, holding him, patting his hair, giving him lots of kisses. Because like you said, you want to teach your boy to be big, strong, be like a hard boy and be tough and but you want him to be sweet. That's why I'm sweet on him, but I also show him boxing. I wrestle with him. I play house. We rough house, things like that. But my wife and I, especially me, we try to teach him to be sweet, to be cute, to be soft, to be loving, because that's how we want him to be. That's how we want him to turn out. So, in my opinion, like. Nowadays, especially as a father, you gotta be sensitive with your child. especially a boy. Excuse me if I'm having issues reading this. I'm a little bit tired as this is going on. That run made me more sleepy than I thought. Anyway, so a couple more sentences and then we're going to wrap things up. So let's see. Children whose fathers provide them with learning materials to speak with them frequently perform better in school and have more advanced language skills. Oh, I talk to him all the time, whether it's like baby talk or talk to him like an adult. How good you doing? I'm like, really, buddy? Tell me more. And I think I said that last time as well. But it's so true. Let's see. Fathers can serve those roles even when they do not live with the child. For example, regardless of whether they live together, children who have regular positive contact with their father tend to regulate their emotions better than children who have no contact with their father. Nevertheless, excuse me, if no father is involved, other caregivers can also serve those functions. Family structure is less important than having loving caregivers meeting children's physical, cognitive, emotional, and social needs. Family structure is less important. That's so true. Okay, everybody. So I'm going to wrap things up here with this podcast. Thank you all so much for everybody who has listened. I really appreciate you all, and I really truly do love you all. I really hope my tips and my advice and my life experiences based on me being a father have helped, especially to those who might become a father or are becoming a father, who is like, how do I do this? How do I do that? What's a good, positive way to do this? What's some tips or some advice? I hope my advice helps, Maybe next podcast I'll go into more, deeper details about some of the things that I do as an example, instead of just, saying them. I could be like, okay, so when it does this, I do this and I do that. Now, I know I've gone into some detail, but maybe next one I'll go into, really, really deep detail. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Again, this has been Coburn C, Capshaw / Mr. Smiles a Lot. And if you live in St. Louis, if you need a marketer, advertiser, or a martial arts coach, and you want to take pictures, do video of you running your business from point A to point B, just showing the world what you love to do. If you want to do a podcast with me, let me know. And I love you all. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. And I will see you guys next time.